China state media reporting that the U.S. has reached out to China for tariff talks. Join us now with the latest. White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. Kevin, thanks for joining us. It's good to have you on. We have our person over in China, Eunice Yoon. We talked about this quite a bit earlier, the way that China is characterizing what happened, the possible reasons why China is characterizing it that way. And we're looking for sort of the unvarnished truth of what's going on, and we know both sides have their story. It comes on the same day, Kevin, that we're seeing that things are not so great. China said that they can easily handle what's going on, but you're already seeing some pretty large cracks. But when they said this today, they said, "Oh, the United States can't take it," and they've come with hat in hand, groveling to see us. What's our take on that? The administration, in other words.
Yeah, our take on it is that the United States is ready for any eventuality, and we're hopeful for progress. The fact is that China has been acting poorly in the past on trade. We've responded accordingly. We're very pleased to see that last week China pulled back a bunch of tariffs on U.S. products, perhaps at a show of good faith. And so I'm hopeful that Secretary Hassett, who's shown how good he can be at this by closing the Ukraine deal, is going to be able to help make progress with our Chinese friends. Now, certainly there have been kind of loose discussions all over both governments, and I think that the fact that the tariffs came off last week shows that we're very close to making the kind of progress we need to move the ball forward.
And you actually say you don't know whether... You assume the president has talked to President Trump has talked to President Xi, but you're not willing to say outright that phone call occurred. But it's
President
been
Trump
a very
communicates about those, but I can tell you that I personally have not spoken with the Chinese.
All right, that we always get sort of a dodge. Yeah. You know the expression that success has many fathers, but failure is an orphan. In recent days, there's been like some confusion about who's handling China. And over the weekend or previous to this, Secretary Hassett said, "I have talked to China, but not about tariffs." Then Lutnick said he's in charge. And you tell me, you are saying without any question that the president has asked Hassett to lead the tariff negotiations with China?
But yeah, make it 100% clear that this
100%.
Trade team, 100%, this trade team is unified. We get along. I've been in meetings with Secretary Lutnick and Secretary Hassett and Jameson Greer yesterday, all over the place, in the ovals. And everybody collegially is divvying up on a massive amount of work. And Secretary Lutnick and Jameson Greer are making progress with numerous countries. I think it's more than 20 now, where we actually have hard offers on the table. And I spent about an hour in my office yesterday where Secretary Lutnick was talking about all the progress that they're making. And I actually want to characterize it for a second, which is that one of the top asks for us is just if we sell something in the U.S., then your country should let us sell it into your country, too. Stop all these non-tariff barriers. We're making great progress on that. And Secretary Hassett, as Treasury Secretary, who's, as you know, in the food chain, very, very highly ranked U.S. official, and he is the appropriate person, given the stakes, to be negotiating with the Chinese right now. And that's something that was agreed to by the president, by Secretary Lutnick, by everybody on the trade team.
It just seemed... now, maybe he was talking at the time about whether he had engaged China on tariffs, but it seemed a little bit ambiguous when he said, "Yeah, I'm in contact with China a lot, but about other issues other than tariffs." It wasn't a dodge necessarily, but it didn't seem like like he grabbed it with both hands and said, "Yeah, this is up to me," and that's why I said the success has, maybe it wasn't going as quickly as hoped. And, success, once again, many fathers, but suddenly failure is an orphan. So he's been in charge all along.
There are not many fathers. There's one team. And everybody talks together about what's going to happen. What are we doing? What's the position that the president thinks is best for this or that? And there's no way that as we talk about China that you're not going to see everybody on that team in the room.
Hey, Kevin, many on Wall Street, different firms have put together real analyses, I should say, of what the tariffs will mean for growth, for employment, for all those things. And they have made lots of different estimates and assumptions and things like that. And that's something historically that your group has done for all sorts of things. Have you done that yet? And can you share those numbers with us?
Oh, just to be clear, Aaron, and to avoid any confusion, I'm director of the National Economic Council now, which is the Larry Kudlow job. Now, I used to be the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, and that's Steve's job now. And Steve has a team of something like 40 PhD economists who are both already, if you go to their website, you can see they're putting out public reports about the effects, I think the most recent one, of extending the tax cuts on the economy. And absolutely, they're doing research on tariffs. Yes, for sure, Steve's service.
But there has not been a report. Yeah. Is there a report or any genuine analysis that you've been either engaged in, involved in, inside the White House that discusses if we pursue these tariffs at these levels, this is what happens to economic growth, this is what happens to employment, yes. all of the kind of basic things that I think the public so desperately wants to better understand?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% we have, Aaron. And the way to think about it is that every year, White House puts out a budget. And in the budget, you have to say, over the next 10 years, here's what's going to happen, here's what growth's going to be, and here's what the president's policy priorities are. And if those policies are realized, here's what happens to economic growth. And that analysis will come out when the president releases his budget. But for sure, every single thing from tariffs to spending to taxes, the big, beautiful bill, all of that stuff has been very carefully modeled by Steve and his
But just so we're clear, the tariff piece...
And I'll be clear, too, Aaron, that the growth rate is going to be very similar or higher to what you saw when we were doing the budgets in 2017.
The great Aaron Sorkin, by the way,
pessimists.
I should mention, the great Aaron Sorkin wrote a terrific show about the West Wing, which you now exist in. I did not write the West Wing, though I wish I could say I did. Right. So Andrew,
the show
Sorkin,
or the building?
Well,
hey, Kevin, we're talking about trying to pay for all these other things that they're in the big beautiful bill. You want to extend the 2017. I assume you want to extend it as is, but we're hearing, and it happened again today. And we had Scalise on, and we had Chairman Smith on. They won't take that. A new higher top tax bracket for people making over $1 million of 40%, or letting it go back to 39.6. They won't take that off the table. I saw the president say he doesn't want to do that. Whenever we have these people on, they say everything is on the table. Can you provide any clarity there? Is everything on the table? Would you go back and one of the main tenets of that, you argue is a very successful outcome from that bill, would you change one of the basic? That was a very important part of that bill. Are you going to go back on that? It was a very important
part of the bill. President Trump has made it clear that he doesn't support that movement. And right now, Congress House and Senate are working collegially together to move towards a bill that everybody agrees on. I was there with Secretary Bassett helping to have a conversation with the majority leader and the speaker and Chairman Crapo and Jason Smith at Ways and Means just on Monday, and the amount of agreement was really close to 95%. Now, there's some stuff that are House priorities that the Senate doesn't have, some stuff that are Senate priorities that the House doesn't have, and then there's our priorities, which it seems like everybody agrees with, at least when they talk to us to our faces. And so I think we're making an enormous amount of progress, and the idea that we get a bill passed by, say, early July at the latest is very, very, very likely.
Let me ask you this, Kevin. Is it going to be scored, whatever comes out? Are you going to have to fall back on the growth is going to take care of any of these big numbers that the CBO scores it with? Because at this point, if you extend the tax cuts and you do all the other things that the president has been talking about, with tips and Social Security, the CBO, if they just put the numbers in, what's going to come out on the other side is a huge deficit-busting plan. Now, we've had people on that just keep talking about, well, there's going to be growth. There's going to be growth. Ignore that. There's going to be growth. Ignore that. How are you going to pay for it? Is there any other way to do it? And tell me about Medicaid and what you'll cut, what you'll propose, and whether it's an actual cut or just a slowdown in the increase.
Yeah, okay, so basically on the tax side, we've been working very carefully to make sure that the tax bill, as designed by people in the Finance and Ways and Means committees and approved by the White House, satisfies the congressional rules that rely on CBO scoring. And so the chance that somebody's going to be ambushed by the CBO at the last minute and that's going to upend the bill, that's just wrong. But you do have to also keep in mind, as you do, Joe, all the time, that there's what the CBO says and then there's what the truth is in the end. And so as an example, when we cut the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, the CBO told us that we were going to crater revenue because they don't believe in Laffer curve effects. Subsequently, if you look right now, corporate revenue is about double what it was before we cut it to 21%. And so for sure, there's going to be a lot of growth effects that accrue way more revenue. And we're already seeing it, Joe, if you wonder, like, where do future taxes come from? From capital investment today, right? Because then businesses are making profits in the future. You noticed in yesterday's GDP release that equipment investment skyrocketed 20%, and business fixed investment was up 10%. Those were bigger numbers than we got for the last year and a half of the previous administration. And when that stuff happens, then that's the dynamic effect that gives you more revenue. And it's already visible in the data that had the weird import glitch. But other than that, it was a really, really strong number, and especially strong in the places that produce future tax revenue.
You might have some real deficit. You might have some deficit hawks. And we've talked about whether any of these members of Congress on either Senate or in the House, whether they're going to get emboldened if the president's poll numbers were to go down, and are they going to, they're going to be much harder to whip into shape. Some of them might not like that you just talk about growth. They may insist on some pay-fors.
Well, what did we just see? Like, if you just looked at the GDP release, Joe, what did we just see? We saw reductions in government spending. We saw really pretty big reductions in government spending. You can see that our budget hawks here in the White House are more effective than budget hawks anywhere in Washington, and they're actually getting the job done with the help of Elon Musk. And then you're also seeing something else that's not in the reconciliation process. You're seeing tariff revenue go up a lot, which is another thing that helps the fiscal situation. But in the end, if you wonder, like, what's the scorecard? Are we being fiscally sane or not? Then ultimately, it's what you see in bond markets. So look at the 10-year now. It's down, about 60 basis points since we started this process. And that's saving real Americans tons of money and saving the federal government lots of money, too, in terms of the interest expense that we have. And so why does the Treasury rate go down? It's because people understand that we're going to not have another inflationary spending blowout like we did in the previous administration. That's what the bond market's seeing.
That can change on a dime like it did not too long ago. Other people say it's because of the negative print on the GDP or growth concerns or whatever, Kevin. I'm just trying to get to the crux of the matter. So you're willing to, or the administration and you figure Congress is willing to enact all these new tax cuts, extend the last tax cut bill from 2017, and not worry or not try to raise revenue anywhere else. That could be a bill that's presented. And, did you talk about Medicaid cuts? Where would there be cuts in Medicaid?
There's going to be reform and waste, fraud, and abuse. It's being discussed and negotiated with people in the House, exactly what that would look like. It's being discussed with people in the House and the Senate. But the uncertainty about spending reductions is close to zero, Joe, right? Because in the instructions, they actually say how much they need to cut in the House and the Senate. And the numbers are there. You can just look at them, and they have different numbers, so maybe there's a little bit of uncertainty about where it's going to end. But when I say they're going to have a bill and it's going to pass, then that means I'm highly confident that people have found the spending reductions that they need in order to get the bill passed. All right.
Just back to tariffs before we got some data at 8:30, I think, Kevin. Could you see a world where, and I think someone was trying to sell the positives of what a lot of people are calling 100 days of chaos, but in selling the positives, that the president wants to end up at a place where the worst actors, and you could throw China in there maybe, are isolated, and maybe it's a handful, and that everybody else is either zero, reciprocal, or much less than what the current regime has. Is that the goal?
My briefing on all of the negotiations is that countries are opening up their markets to U.S. products. So U.S. farmers, U.S. producers are going to be able to have way more access to foreign markets, and they're doing so in a way that is, making it easier for us to move the reciprocal tariffs down in the deal. And what the final deal looks like will be decided by the president, but the progress to report is extraordinary. And if you'd like, the person in the middle of all that is Jameson Greer and Howard Lutnick, outside of China. And I'm sure they're happy to talk to you about the progress they make today. I'm sure there'll be news by the end of the day.
So you don't know if it's who's first, if it's India or South Korea, or what's going on with Japan. Can you tease us? Can you give us anything? Can you dangle?
I think I know, but I can't tease. Sorry.
You do think you know?
I do think I know, but I'm not going to know it.
Can you give us a hint?
No, because it might not be true. We're just guessing.